welcome to my channel. My name is Confidence. I hope you're doing well and staying safe. In today's video, I'm going to be looking at a subject matter or an issue that has been a big burden in my heart, actually. It's an issue that has kept me wondering and also thinking at times because it has to do with children and it has to do with families. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at, try to answer this question. Why are they taking our kids? Why are they taking African children? The day in question refers to the social services of the country where you're resident, you know, and this is it's now become like a common occurrence. Like as I'm speaking right now, to those of you that are listening to me, I'm sure that some of you have experienced it, or at least you know someone, or even people that it has happened to. So, in this video, I want us to really address it. So, it's going to be a long video, and I urge you, if you need a drink, if it's a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, or any drink at all, I hope you just grab one, and I plead with you to watch through from the beginning to the end of this video so you don't miss out on any issues that we're going to be looking at. And I also want to say that in this video today, I have three very special guests because I wanted to have different perspectives from different people actually on this subject matter because it's something that I've been looking forward to talking about. So in today's video, we're going to be hearing from three very special guests of mine. And after that, after their contributions, I'm going to give you my take on this subject matter. Why are they taking African children? So it's important because anything that tampers with our children, anything that tampers with the unit of the family affects the destiny of people, and it's very, very important. So I want you to know that today's video is going to be longer than usual because of the gravity of the subject matter. So please don't go anywhere. Just sit tight and we're going to roll the tape. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emmanuel here soon. I want to talk to you about raising children in the Western world and the social welfare. Now, this is one of the most challenging issues with parenting in the Western world, which affects families, especially non-indigens, immigrants migrating from African continent, the Middle East, and Asia. As you all know, moving or migrating from one country to the other has some adaptation processing and process which one has to go through for you to be able to know how a particular system or where you're going works. And the issue of parenting is one of the issues that most parents migrating from one continent to the Western world, to Europe, for instance, don't put into consciousness because there are other issues surrounding your relocation or moving into a country than that of the parenting. And in most cases, you don't think about it because as a parent, you don't have that consciousness of someone coming to tell you how to run your home and run your affairs. Now, there's a particular aspect of parenting in the Western world which has actually been a big challenge with so many parents, and that is the aspect of raising children. And a question behind this is, why do the social welfare take the children from their parents? Now, there are many reasons why the social welfare takes the children from their parents. It could be some psychological effects from the child's behavior in school, or maybe the child is not well fed or taken care of properly, or maybe the child is abused by maybe a parent hitting the child, or any form of abuse. Now, this is usually observed in the schools, the neighborhood, and in most cases, reports go to the social units, the social welfare, and they come into the family to investigate. In many cases, when they're doing their investigation, they take the child from the parents, or they leave the child with the parents while they do their investigation. And I think that the processes which they go through before taking the child is something that needs to be properly looked into, because I think that most of these parents migrating from outside the country to Europe, to the Western world, need some kind of education to be well informed, or some sort of seminar for them to be able to know or learn how children are being raised in the Western world. It's different from most of the parents who are raised in Europe, because they already know how the system works. But most of the parents who migrate from Africa, Middle East, and Asia, we all have similar cultures of how we raise children, and that doesn't apply in the European or the Western system. Now, I think that during their investigation, there are a lot of processes that they go through with the families and the child and the parent, and eventually, if the case is investigated properly, and they discover that actually the child has been, has undergone some form of abuse, they definitely will take your child. And I just want to say that, is it better to take the child from the parents, or is better to help the parents to become a better parents? Because this is some form of um, um, some form of slavery, if I may say. Though it's good on one hand, because they're actually protecting the child's image and trying to help the child, but at the same time, they are also damaging the relationship between the child and the family, because in most cases you find a situation where the child is taken away from the parents, and the foster parents are unable to take care of the child either, sorry. And you find this child, going out and doing what he or she likes, and no one is talking to the child. And statistics has proven that most of these children don't do well in school, and some of them turn out to be drug addicts and criminals, and they end up in jail. And chances for them to become leaders of tomorrow are slim, even when they are not living with their parents. So again, is it better to take a child from the parents, or to help the parents to be a better parent? And then it's also not very good for the economy of a particular country, because when you take the child, the government is responsible for the child's welfare, though it's some form of money making for foster parents. I mean, most of them don't have children. They have no idea about how kids are raised. And those who have children don't even have enough time to focus on these children that are taken away from their parents, because they also have their own kids. So there's a lot of challenging issues around adopting a child from the family, because the child gets to lose a lot of things from the family background and the culture, because most times when they take these children, they take them to families that have nothing to do with their race or background or culture. So their culture is actually denied from them. They grow up without knowing some of the things that they ought to know, that binds them with their identity from where they are coming from. And then economically, it doesn't help the parents, because most parents become some, although they become lazy, or rather it becomes a thing of a parent not taking care of his child by keeping your money or saving your money, because if the government is taking away your child from you and they're going to be taking care of that child outside the parents, it means that the parents will not be spending anything for the child. But I think that if a parent can bring a child to this world, then he or she should be responsible to take care of her child. So taking away that child, I don't think it actually helps the situation. It actually makes the situation worse, because these kids are actually denied of their identity. And I think that it's also not giving an opportunity for the immigrants, people migrating from other countries. It's also not giving them the opportunity to become leaders of the future, because when a child is displaced from his origin and has no background, as he or she grows up, he or she has lost or lose that taste of the culture, and actually the parental touch in growing up. And then they end up in a foster home where the foster parents haven't done well either, and then they go out and become drug addicts and become criminals and end up in jail. Chances that when they come out of jail for them to become leaders of the society is very slim. So you find a bunch of group of people who are in the prisons. You find that most of them are actually more of immigrants than the indigenes of the land, which doesn't actually help the situation of immigrants around the world. There are a lot of other things as well that are involved in this child adoption, which I think that time may not permit me to go further. But I think that what I want to say, my point here is that the child adoption process should be properly looked into. That it is not enough to take a child from the parents to the foster parents. It's probably the best for the parents to get help to become better parents. So we have more of better parenting in the society, in the world, as the world is evolving, than taking the children away from their parents and then losing their identity, losing their culture and who they actually are. How are they going to tell their own story? So they end up telling other stories and the stories of other people rather than telling their own story. So I think, in my opinion, that it is better to help the parents to become better parents than adopting the child. Thank you once again for listening, and God bless.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Uchenna. I am a social worker by profession and I live in Sweden. In this video, I will be discussing something that is very, very important, that is like a burning issue in the lives of our parents living in the Western world. And what we shall be looking at this evening, today, is the reasons why they take our children from us. The they in this statement means the system, the Western world, like for example, here in Sweden, the Swedish authority, the government. Before I continue with this video, I will want to point out something very important that I feel we need to know. And it always looked like the system, they are trying to tell us that no, you don't know how to care for your child. We can take care of your children better than you do. No. The reason why the system seems to be very, very interested in the welfare of children is because children are vulnerable. They are defenseless. They need to be protected. And why is it that they think probably that, oh, you as a parent cannot protect your child? It's because children find themselves in different types of home. Parents that are drunkards, step parents, parents that are separated, they are being adopted into new homes, and so on and so forth. So in that case, children have different experiences in these different types of home. parents that are very, very aggressive. And because of that, the system is made in a way that how do you know the parent that is not harmful? How do we know that this child is not exposed to any form of harm? If, for example, in Sweden, it is important for us to know that the ban of corporal punishment, which is most times the reasons why our children are being taken when we hit them and then they are wounded, they are hurt. In Sweden, it was not always like that, that the parents cannot hit children. No, it wasn't. If you go probably do a little research, you will see that in Sweden, corporal punishment was very accepted. It was accepted in this system until 1971, when a stepfather beat her 3-year-old stepdaughter to death. And that was the reason why the eyes of the system was opened. This was a stepfather that was supposed to take care of a 3-year-old girl. And this father was so angry that he hit the child to death. And that raised a lot of noise in Sweden. And that was how corporal punishment was banned in this country. And the welfare of children became something that went another way, became very, very serious thing, that the system began to see how important it is to protect the children. Now, having said this, I want to mention a few of the things that I know, the reasons why they take our children. Generally, in a kind of summary, I will tell you that if your child is taken from you, the only reason why your child will be taken from you is always at the extreme cases of violence or extreme case of violence. Some of us might say, what do you mean? That is true. But the problem is with the word violence and abuse. How do we understand it? Do we actually know what violence is? What does it mean to be violent to a child? And most times we don't really know what the system sees as violence. Violence is not just physically hitting your children. I tell you the truth, even the whites struggle while raising their children. They know that children, they face a lot of things. Most of the parents in the Western world, the white people or the people we think they are the ones interested in trying to take away our children. Most of them face a lot of challenges. Also, they know that raising children is not easy. Now, violence is not just hitting children physically. There is also emotional abuse. There is also psychological abuse. Even when parents fight and do all manner of things in front of their children, hit themselves, and sometimes by hitting themselves, the children are involved, they have terrible negative effects psychologically on the child. And most times when our children are exposed to all these manner, apart from the physical one that probably you get injured, when they're exposed like to emotional or psychological, and they go to school and they begin to display strange behaviors, they become a center of attraction. Probably in school, they begin to notice that there is something going on in the life of this child. And then they will begin to be specific in the life of your child. So it is very important that we know that what this system is looking at violence is not just hitting a child. No, violence can be emotional, it can be physical, it can be psychological. Because this is a very short video, we will not go into details. But now it is important for us to know that when these things are noticed in the lives of our children, what is it just when they notice it, the social services will come and pluck your child? No, it is not like that. The only time your child is plucked directly when they see that there is something going on is when they think that the life of the child is in danger. When they notice that something had happened at home and the child's life in danger, they will take your child. They will not bring your child. Before they start the investigation, they will first of all remove the child from danger. What they think is danger, they will start their investigation. Now, everything that goes on with the investigation is what makes our child to be taken away or to be left to us. And most times, I can tell you, the behavior and the responses and the attitude of of some of us make confirm the fear or the suspense of what the social services they suspect that this child is not in a safe home. When they contact you to talk with you, or we notice certain behavior, or we notice certain things in the life of your child, most of us become aggressive. Most of us begin to make unreasonable arguments. We don't know what the law says. We don't know how to approach them. We don't know how to cooperate with social services because we already believe that, oh, they are here to take my child. And most times when they consult you, when they come to you, please calm down. Explain situation, because the reason why they have people coming into families because of is because they already know that there are difficulties in raising children, and they are there to help you if you seek their help. But when you begin to fight them when they come to you, when you begin to make unnecessary arguments, scream and try to do, or not cooperating with them in daily meetings they have with you, it sends a very negative message to the social services. So it is very important that we understand that first, it looks like the system are interested, but remember, they also have their own children. The only thing that can make them remove your child is at extreme cases of violence. And if they suspect violence or abuse in your family, please calm down. Make reasonable arguments. Talk with them. Follow their instruction and prove to them that you can protect your child. That's what they are after. They don't want to take your child because it also costs them a lot of money to save a child, to keep your child. So, but because they are there to protect children, they want to be sure that if this child is left in your hand, you are able. And if you are struggling with the challenges your child is posing to you, they are also there to help and guide you, not just to take your child, not to take your child from you. So it is very, very important that we get to know that we know exactly what the system, what the law says when it comes to raising children in this country, and understand that the only reason why they wouldn't want you to hit your child is that there are parents that might hit their child and hit them to death. Just like the stepfather that hit his 3-year-old stepdaughter to death here in Sweden, that made them ban corporal punishment here in Sweden. So I will end this video by telling us that yes, it feels that we have become victims of the system because I believe that we are not well informed. We believe that, yeah, whenever they contact us, they are here to take our children. No, it is not that. Most times they want to find out what your struggles are and how they can help you. And the best thing you can do is not to be afraid, but to calm down and reason things out with the social services. Thank you for listening and have a good day.
All right, I want to start off by saying a very big thank you for this amazing platform, whereby we can use to express our personal views or our concerns to matters that really matter. And the subject matter we are talking about today is something really that matters to us. And of course, it's about why are they taking our children? When we say they, of course, we're referring to the Swedish social services and Scandinavia as a whole. And when I say I mean the Black or the African community. Why are they taking our kids? If you live in any of these places, you will agree with me that the rate at which they are picking up African children from their homes is quite alarming. It's way so much. Like, is it that we're getting it all wrong? Are we getting this parenting thing wrong 100%? Why the focus on us? Because that's the way I see it. I just think that there is this great focus on us other than other communities. I mean, we have the Swedish homes, we have the Arab homes that live here, and I don't see them going after those ones the way they are coming after the black homes. And permit me to say, especially, for instance, the Arab homes, what you find in the African homes is not necessarily so different from what you see in those homes. Like I said, I'm not trying to take ourselves away that we're getting it 100% right. But if there are things you think is going wrong in our homes, trust me, it's also happening in the Arab homes and in the Swedish homes. And please, I'm not mentioning those communities in any way disrespectful. As a matter of fact, especially when I say about the Arab homes, with great admiration. Because I see, what I observed is that they've done great for themselves, and which is what we are lacking, and why I think they are coming after us. The Arab community, when they come in here, they do their best to stand and have a firm grip in the society. So you go to every section now. You're looking for lawyers. You have very good lawyers from that community. You're looking for medical doctors, you have them. You're looking for nurses, lawyers from that community. You're looking for medical doctors, you have them. You're looking for nurses, you have them. You're looking for politicians, you have them. So, at every point, they have someone who will speak up for them. Even in the social services, you have them. I mean, like 60% of those that work in the communes, the social services, are actually Arabs. So tell me, how are you going to, when you pick up someone from them, they have people to stand up for them and talk, which is what is lacking in the African homes. And this is why I think those people are coming after us. Now, why are they doing this? We have no one to speak up for us. When we Africans come in here, our focus is so much on money. Our focus is so much, pay the bills, send money home, do things. And so once we come in and they tell us, you can be a cleaner, you earn almost the same thing as someone who is, who is a nurse, or you be an under nurse, and the difference between you and someone who is a full-time nurse or a qualified nurse is not different. We just settle for that. But the Arab people will go to school to the highest level, and then they will get into the right positions. So you go to immigration, they are there. You go to, like I said, you want lawyers, they're there. If you try to pick one of them, they have people to stand up and speak for them. And the society we live in, they know. So it's not like what is happening in their homes is different from what is happening in ours. It's just because they know, the social services, they know that if they pick up someone from there, people that would stand up to them are there. But if they pick somebody, from us, we're just at their mercy. Tell me, how many qualified lawyers, African lawyers, can you find here? Or do we even have politicians? Do we have people in the house? No. So when they pick on us, we're just at their mercy. They give us their own lawyers to speak for us. Oh my God. It's like they have to do their work, right? They need to show that they are doing something. And they go to the weakest link. And that is exactly what is happening. So if you tell me that it's because we are so strict or we discipline the children, and they go to the weakest link. And that is exactly what is happening. So if you tell me that it's because we are so strict or we discipline the children so much, like I said, I'm not saying we're perfect. But this same thing you argue about, I'm telling you, also happens in the homes of other communities. but they don't go after them the way they come after us. And like I said, it's simply because we are the weakest link. No one to stand up for us. We are just at their mercy. So they trample on us and do whatsoever it is that pleases them. And I'm just praying, I'm hoping, that we can rewrite the story, that in the next 10 years, in the next 5 years, that we can create a change. And how can we do this? If we have failed in this area, okay, let us encourage our children. Let us help them to refocus. Let them go to school and become the best that they can. I mean, it's not about money. Money is good, but money is not everything. There is something called respect. There is something called dignity. Like standing up for your community, standing up for people who believe in the same thing you believe in. Let me tell you something. When you go to the social services, the commune houses, most of the case officers are Arabs. They believe in their culture, they believe in what they believe in. So when you bring a child or someone who is from that part of the world, how do you tell someone who believes in something, tell them to judge the same person who believes in what they believe in? And these people, they know nothing comes out of it, so they don't even go after them. And trust me, a lot of things happen, maybe even more that you think happens in African homes. Please, let us go to school. Let us try to get real big, good positions in the society. Let's not just come and, be the ones on the floor. Let's not be the weakest link anymore. Let it not just be about money when it concerns things like this. Let's encourage our children so that in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, we will have our own people who are in politics, even maybe sooner than that. Okay, we will have, you want good lawyers, you will have Black Africans who are good lawyers, so that when things happen, don't even go after them. And trust me, a lot of things happen, maybe even more that you think happens in African homes. Please, let us go to school. Let us try to get real big, good positions in the society. Let's not just come and, be the ones on the floor. Let's not be the weakest link anymore. Let it not just be about money when it concerns things like this. Let's encourage our children so that in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, we will have our own people who are in politics, even maybe sooner than that. Okay, we will have, you want good lawyers, you will have Black Africans who are good lawyers, so that when things happen, when they see, just like the Arab community, that you have people everywhere, who believe in what you believe in, who can stand up for you, they will leave you alone. Because trust me, the Swedish culture or what they believe in is not necessarily the best of it all. They also have their faults. In fact, I will tell you, my daughter had this friend, a girl who the mother is into drugs, the father is a top businessman and travels a lot. That child practically grew up by herself. And is that kind of person that the social service is supposed to pick up and take to another home to help her? No, they did not. Because she's from a Swedish home and her father is an important person in the society. So no, they didn't bother. They left her to herself. They did as if everything was okay. But no, everything was not okay. And when it concerns something that is even not as heavy or as much as that, in African homes, you see them come for us. Like I said, it's because there's nobody to speak for us. So they are taking our children simply because they see us as the weakest link. They see us as people who are at their mercy, who cannot help themselves. And I pray and I hope that we will wake up to this reality, and rewrite the story and do something about it, even starting from ourselves. Let's go back to school. It's never late. And if you cannot, please guide your children rightly so that in the years to come, the story can change.
Thank you so much for watching up until this point. I am grateful to my three very special guests for their perspectives and contributions, but this is my take. Now, taking of African kids from their parents and homes, to me, is considered a very serious occurrence. But one thing that gets me worried, and keeps me awake some nights is that it's now becoming a regular occurrence. I remember that I was at a program where a popular man of God visited Sweden, and in that program, I remember he mentioned the case of a woman whose kids were taken, and he asked other people that had similar issues to stand up. And to my amazement and the amazement of many, even to the man of God, so many people stood. So just to show you that this is becoming rampant, taking of kids away, African kids, to be precise, away from their homes. I'm not saying that it's not affecting non-Africans, but my concern is the alarming rate at which it's happening. So, is there something African parents are doing wrong? Is it the fault of the social system of the country where you are in? Is it the fault of the children? So, what's going on? What's really going on? What are we not doing right? What are we doing wrong? So these are some of the questions. And I want to start this by saying this. I remember very vividly some years back that this was also a big concern to a former ambassador that was in Sweden. He was so bothered and worried because he was, he was getting pleas of help from parents, from African parents, specifically Nigerian parents, on this subject matter, that he had to call for a meeting of all ministers, reverend fathers all over Sweden. I remember vividly because I was there in the capacity of a pastor, a minister's wife, and I went with my husband, and we were there because he was bothered. And that same issue bothers me. And that is why we are looking at this. So what are African parents, what are we doing wrong? So now, I want to start it this way. Could it be that African parents are not aware that our kids are now in a society where kids are not ignored? Most of us come from backgrounds that kids are ignored. Children have no say, children can't express their feelings or their views. Sometimes, maybe, some African parents are forgetting that our kids are now being raised, especially those of us in diaspora, that our kids are now being raised in societies where children are not ignored. Whatever they think, whatever they say, whatever their views are considered very, very important. So that's one. Could that be the reason? And then another thing I want to say is, could it be that the social systems of these countries, because sometimes even over the social media, you see videos that have gone viral where these kids, African kids, are snatched from their African parents and all that. That is even going so far. I'm talking about back home where you are. Like I said before, I'm sure maybe it has happened to you or you know someone that it happened to. So now, could it be that these social systems in these countries, they have wrong assumptions and perspectives of African parents? And so most times they generalize? Is that the reason why they're taking our kids? That's a food for thought. Because some people just see Africans. Of course, we all know Africans are loud in our nature. Even when you talk on the train, like sometimes I'm in the train or even in a bus, and when an African is speaking, I know it's an African on the phone, and others are just, gazing and looking at him, And sometimes, when we talk to our kids, I don't know if it happened to you, when we talk to our kids sometimes, some of them close their ears because they feel we're too loud. And even some of them that have the guts will tell you, oh, mama, I'm not deaf. Or dad, I'm not deaf. I can hear you. You don't need to shout. So that's what I'm saying. So it's the social system of these countries that are taking our kids, are they having wrong assumptions and perspectives of African parents, and because of that they generalize? Oh, okay, it's true, these people are guilty. Could that be the reason? Now, thirdly, could it be that African parents are just targeted? Targeted due to their ignorance? Because truly, most Africans are ignorant, even in diaspora. It is sad, but it's the truth. So many of us here, like one of my special guests mentioned, we just want to do the cleaning job, the lowest of jobs. We don't aspire for more, and what have you. Could it be, and some of us are not educating ourselves, we're not educating ourselves to get ourselves informed about the society we found ourselves in, we are living in. So some of us are carrying even passports of these countries, and we don't know what our rights are. So are they feeding on our ignorance as Africans? Are they feeding on our ignorance? So these are some of the things. Could that be the reason why they are taking our kids? And then also, why are they taking our kids? Why? Could it be that reports of violence in African homes and ugly incidents, lead them or make them pluck our children away from us? You see, sometimes we African parents, you quarrel in front of your children, you hit your wives in front of your children. You're just making yourself an easy prey for your family to be disintegrated and your children to be taken away from you. When there is violence in your home, your children see you, watch you beat their mother, and maybe the mother is not reporting you, but the children are seeing, and it affects the psychology of the children. The children go to school, they will speak. They will speak. They are not like some children you say, oh, keep quiet, don't tell anybody anything. No, they will speak. Through their demeanor, they will speak. They don't even need to say the words from their, their disposure. They just give it all away because they are kids. So violence, when there is violence in the home, the rate at which some of us Africans are violent is also disturbing. It's also disturbing. You hit your wife, you hit your wife recklessly in front of your children. Even some women too, slap their husbands, attack their husbands in front of the children. So that is breeding. That is your family will definitely be a target for the social services to take your children. So could it be that the violence going on in African homes is attracting the social systems to take away our children? I want us to think deeply about what we're talking about today, because it's very important. It has to do with our children. Our children are our future. If anything that takes away our children from us has destroyed our future. Without your children, you have no future. The Bible says that children are like arrows in the quiver of a mighty man. And you shoot arrows, arrows go further than even the shooter. So anything that takes away our kids from us is virtually destroying our future. So could it be that we're also ignoring the feelings of our children? Our children, I want us to note that children raised in this part of the world, it's just in them. They know how to express their views and they know how to express how they feel. If your child is not happy, he or she will tell you, Mama, I'm not happy about this. I know several times I have 4 kids, and then some of them will tell me, Mom, you tell them do this, and they say, but why? They need you to tell them why. It's not just like some children you just, brush off or, you send them away without answers. Children born in this part of the world, they ask questions and they deserve the answers. So could it be that as parents that we are not looking at this? And when this is absent in the home, it affects the children. And this will maybe misinterpreted by the system another way round. So please let us know that our children that we raise in this part of the world, that these children ask lots of questions. These children, they show love. They the expressing. I'm also talking about the expressive nature of these children. It also shows they want to show love. I know most of us come from backgrounds where we love our parents, we love them, we can do anything for our parents, but maybe we were never raised to show love to some of our parents, some of us, not all of us. And and now we have kids that show love. They show you love, and they want also to be shown love. You see that some of us never came from backgrounds where you ever told your mom, I love you, mom, or I love you, dad, or your mother even told you I love you, or your father tells you I love you. But that did not mean that they didn't love you or you don't love them, because you could do anything for your parents. Now, what I'm talking about is the point I'm buttressing again and again is that our children are expressive. We are raising kids now that they wake up, your children can wake up and tell you, I love you, mom, I love you, dad. And I'm sure sometimes some Africans don't know how to, they have not gotten used to it, or maybe by now they have. Some may have issues settling down with that because they're not used to it. But our kids are not that way. Our kids know how to express their feelings and their views. And when we try to suppress that, then we make them, vulnerable, and we make our homes attractive to the social system. So we have to understand that our children are so expressive in nature. They tell us, I love you, mom, I love you, dad. They can't be silenced because of the environment and the culture where they are in. They can't be silenced. Even children in Africa now are so wise and so smart. They can't be silenced. So that's one. And then another thing I want to say, why are they taking our kids? Could it be the clash of cultures? Could it be the clash of cultures? When I was raising my kids when they were quite young, I taught them, I told them, every African uncle every African man or woman you meet, whatever, you must address that person as auntie. In fact, every adult, not just Africans, we taught them, every adult you meet, you must address that person, if it's a female auntie, if it's a male uncle. And my kids processed that. They were doing it. But one of my boys came to me one day and he said, but Mama, I want to ask you, so if are all these people your brothers and sisters? I say biologically no, but we are all one because we're Africans. And he says, but that's not right. They are not our uncles. Why should we call uncles? I say, well, in our tradition and culture, we address adults that way. It shows respect. And then he went to bed. The next morning he got up and he came to me directly and he asked me, he said, okay, Mama, since you said I should call everybody because they're older than me, why can't my younger brother address me as uncle? And I was stunned at that question. I wasn't expecting that question. And then he looked at me, I looked at him, because I was trying to, try to get a response to his question. And I told him, but really, do you want him to call you uncle? He said, no. And then we laughed about it and he left. But you see, he didn't just go, he left and he had to digest that. And he thought about that simple instruction I gave him. He thought about it. So that's how it is. So why are they taking our children? Are we not parenting right? Are we not aware of the culture of the land where we are? Try to know what the norms and culture is of where you are. The things that are acceptable, the things that are not. A friend of mine told me once, a colleague of mine, she told me once she was in a bus and she said, in fact, she was so embarrassed. This African woman was visibly angry and, shaking the child in the bus, and everybody was staring at her. And, and she thought to herself, if she could do this in public, then what is she subjecting these children to in private? So I want us to think about it. Please, I would really welcome all of our views, your comments, your experiences. I really want us to look at this. I don't know whether this video has done justice to this topic, But I think it's going to be from now moving forward, and I know that we're going to, this is just a foundation. We're going to build on it because this is something that I want us to seriously address. It is ruining African homes. It is destroying the lives of our children. No child that is taken ever remains the same. It's very, very important. Some of these children are just wasted and their destinies are ruined because they are plucked out from their families, and their lives are ruined. It's as simple as that. So please, thank you so much for watching even up till now. I want to hear from you. I'm eagerly waiting for the response to this video. I want to hear from you. If it happened to someone you know, if it happened to someone you know, if it happened to you, I'm welcome to hear. I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you in response to this video. Thank you so much for staying up with me up until now. I'm grateful. Do remain blessed and continue to stay safe. Thank you. Bye-bye.